I have this very lengthy story shared with me, and I'm going to be addressing it. To be honest, I've not even finished reading it, but I'm just going to start off from where I've read, and I know I won't even finish from where I stopped. That's where I stopped reading, even on this video, because it's quite lengthy, honestly speaking. Okay, so to not waste our time any further, let me start. The topic is my long story. It's really long. I think it is about, yes, 49 pages. Oh my god, this is it's not. Anyway, let's start. Dear Ma, I'm very happy to know you and thank God for your experiences and great escape from narcissistic abuse, coupled with the huge impact you are making on victims of such. I am a Christian, brought up by God-fearing parents, the second of 4 children. I have HND, BSc, and a postgraduate qualification. I had been praying for the right partner from my teenage years, and I used to attend marriage seminars and youth programs. Let me pause here a little bit. Is this person is actually a guy? And I love that. That's more reason why I'm even in love with this story. I love that it's coming from a guy. I love that you mentioned that I was preparing for marriage, and it's making me realize that, okay, it's not only women that prepare for marriage. Maybe not so much, but at least we have few men who are preparing for marriage, right? Okay, so let me continue. I also started buying books on marriages written by both Nigerian and foreign authors. I have been a member of staff of the University of Ibadan for almost 2 decades. I joined a nearby church, still my denomination, in 2009, where I met my charming young lady at the youth fellowship in the church, and particularly in a workers group that I belonged to. In one of our meetings, I heard God saying she was my wife, and I had a trance there and then about the wedding day. I told my friend, Brother Gideon, not real name, who was a senior youth officer while I was holding another post, about the lady. Okay. It was very instrumental in getting me details about this lady, and would prove to be more helpful to me in future. Paragraph 1, ended. The thing is, I feel we need to actually read this story and take our time. And you're going to be telling me what you think about this thing. I'm also going to share my opinion on what I think, but I want you to follow me, okay? Argumentative and angry tendencies to our counselors, and I remember our pastor telling her on one occasion that anger is not a virtue, and it is not good for a woman to be unsubmissive to her husband. May I have AU'd with that place, but let's leave it, because again, we don't know the full story yet. Otherwise, I don't know this full discussion that led to the pastor saying unsubmissive, but honestly speaking, I'm not sure being unsubmissive is the right answer to someone who is being aggressive. But either ways, I will leave that because it was not my presence. Now, moving on. Mrs. Daniel, not the real name, also told her that you don't argue with your husband. Again, I have issues with this advice. I don't know. Not like you should start arguing with your husband, but you don't have to necessarily always have to agree. You're not a dummy. You don't have to always agree, but you can discuss out your differences and come to a conclusion. But that way you always agree with your husband there, I don't believe is real, except the man is looking for a dummy, or you are trying to raise a mumu. Yeah. But if you want a woman who is assertive, who is healthy, who is going to help you be the man that God wants you to be, then you're not looking for a dummy. So she will sometimes not agree with you. However, it depends on the context as well. So you don't agree with your husband. That line is off for me. Let's continue. At most, you explain yourself calmly, briefly, and go into your room and pray to God to touch his heart. Ma, why should I have to be always praying to God to touch my husband's heart when he's not Shango? Now, my response is not towards the guy, but I'm talking in general. If you have to always go and fast and pray for God to be touching your husband's heart, you are not married, ma. You are not married. No, you are in a glorified slavery position. The only advantage is that you have access to their body without guilt, honestly. Because if I have to always, I'm not saying there won't be instances where you have to pray, our men can be men. When I say our men can be men, there's some things you want to do that they may not understand at the time. So you will need the wisdom of the Holy Spirit to help you navigate the discussion. But if you have to always, that's not healthy. Because if you're having to be walking on eggshells around your husband, always having to be praying everything, God touch him, even when there's no need, no. So I'm not 100% in agreement with that. So counsel or advice. But let me continue. Where was I? Yeah. She then find an appropriate time to talk with him, blah, blah, blah. This works for me when you argue with your husband. It aggravates matters as you disrespect him and disregard his headship as ordained by God. I understand this, though in a different context, but I do understand, to be honest, arguments does not really bet a good result. When somebody is not reasoning with you, take a pause, chill pill, shield, a little shield, okay? Calm it down. When you calm it down, even you yourself, you will be able to have a discussion outside of your emotion. At that moment, because you're not calm, you will most likely even mess things up. So yeah, take a pause. Go and calm it down. When you have not calmed it down, then go back and speak with your husband, okay? Not out of fear. Please. Okay, let me continue. My fiancé neither accepts she is wrong nor apologizes. Why do we always make this mistake? When someone has shown you their color, believe them. Believe them. And now this situation is a man. It's going to be more difficult for him to leave. It's going to be more difficult because of the society's pressure. You're a man. Man up. You know those toxic masculinity. Okay. We have had disputes whereby I told her that she was wrong and I could break the courtship if she didn't change, but I continued the relationship thinking she would change. Uncle, why were you threatening her with breakup? Why were you threatening her with breakup? We were looking for trouble by that statement. Someone cannot threaten me with breakup and although she also has her own body. But if I'm in a courtship with you, I'm doing something you don't like, the next thing is not for you to be threatening me with breakup. You're not Jesus, you're not Alpha and Omega. I will leave you. However, I will not be toxic. The minute I sense that you're threatening me out, I will even end it. I will be the one to end it, because apparently the relationship is already veering towards toxicity. So stop threatening people with I'm going to break up with you. It's not healthy. Stop it if you're doing it. Let's continue. Okay, he assumed she would change. Anyway, our courtship, though not without some fights, was great as we loved each other and used to send messages to each other hoping for a bright future. I supported my fiancé academically, blah, blah, blah. I would like to jump some things so we don't take too much of our time. I helped her edit her bachelor's degree project and all those kind of supports that I think are normal things you should do. He said he also paid part of her school fees. I feel these things are not a big deal if you're in a good relationship, and it should be and rub hand, or you help me, I help you. It should not be one-way traffic. So as much as I appreciate this, I would jump it as well, because I honestly think that it's a normal thing in every relationship. A woman should support a man and a man should support a woman, because at the end of the day, it's a teamwork. Both of you are aiming towards the same goal, having a beautiful future together. So nobody is doing anybody favor by supporting each other, okay? So I'll jump that paragraph and I'll go on. The courtship lasted for 1 year and 9 months. My family members followed me to Lagos for the introduction, blah, blah, blah. And the pastor was excited, thank God. Now, first year of marriage. It termed it arrogant behaviors. And to be honest, I think I want to say something here. At this point, I think this man may also have some personal character issues and also mindset issues, because I can sense some undertones here that sounds like someone who also wants to be lording it over someone else. If you're going into the marriage with the mindset to lord it over another person because she's a wife, you're ready for war. Be ready for war. Yeah. Be ready, very, very, very ready for war. Even if you married a naive person, one day she will wake up from a naivety sleep. And it will not be like, how did you change? How did you become this thing? No, she didn't change. It's just because she just woke up. It is her morning and she can no longer take what you're doing. So I think men should also check their mindset. When you're going into a relationship, it's not a master-student relationship like many think about. It's not a master and slave relationship. And headship is not to control and lord it over the other person. Headship is simply God. I think this video, let me pause it here to be able to address this. Headship is literally a thing of hierarchy. God put in a structure. You and your wife are the same thing before God. You are the same. You have access to the same grace. You don't have a better access than her. You don't have a better relationship than her. You are literally the same. But for the purpose of order and structure, that is the reason why there is head, there's a leader, and there's a follower. And mind you, there are some situations where you may not be able to lead, especially if it's your weak point. Say, for example, a man that is not very good with finances, who married a woman who is very good with finances. At that instance, you should step back and allow her lead so that your family is not struggling financially. But this is where so many men are struggling. They feel headship means control, Lord and Master. You must worship and lick my ground or whatever. Okay, maybe I went too far. But then we know that this is literally what people, think that marriage should be. That the woman should be afraid or honor them. And yes, honor your husband. Respect your husband. But not worship your husband. Submit to your husband. But submission is not subjugation. Do you get? Submission is not you say something I cannot counter say. Submission is not you doing something and I cannot call your BS and tell you, August, I love you with the love of God, but that thing you're doing is wrong. Submission is not I need to buy things for myself. Do I need to? No, that's not submission. And I think that's where we're having issues. So I'm hoping that this video is going to help you men to have a different mindset. And I think you should go and study that verse. Because even the Bible says, submit you one to another. Before it now say, woman, submit your husband, husband, love your wife. But somehow we always jump that verse. Why? The first year of marriage, I themed this as arrogant behavior. Immediately after our wedding, I started noticing my wife's unsubmissive and controlling behavior coupled with arrogance, aggression, stubbornness, unforgiveness, and lack of appreciation. Like I said in the previous videos and other videos I've made, to be honest with you, any man that is always bent on be submissive to me, I don't know, it gives me a serious red flag. So you may also want to check yourself as well. Why are you so bent on submission? Why do you want submission at all costs? Because it feels like you are like this on it. I don't know, but honestly, check it. That could be another trigger for I'm not excusing her behaviors. I'm not in any way. I'm just highlighting your own parts as well, where you may have made some mistakes. Okay, so yeah, let me continue. The first instance was one day while preparing food. She wore a new white skirt. I advised her to remove the skirt to prevent stains, but she discarded my advice vehemently and insulted me greatly. She used to scatter her clothing, bags, etc. No, let me not lie. This is giving me narcissistic vibes, because many times these people are usually very rough, untidy, and dirty. Yeah. And they do it intentionally with their partners. They are very rough. I've not really seen where a narcissist is neat and tidy. They're always very messy. Actually, messy is the word. Anyways, I'm not saying it's 100%, but many times that's inside inside of them is chaotic already. So there's no way to not reflect in their environment. They are always very messy, and they are many times hoarders. They hoard different things, and it could be good things that they're hoarding, like gadgets or boxes of their old gadgets or papers or books or different things, literally things they don't need, but they just feel that they need it. So yeah, this is giving the vibe, to be honest. Okay, so let me go on. Correcting her on this results in serious aggression against me, so I made it a point of duty to be rearranging the house regularly as I like an organized setting. I like that, and well done. It's just that if you're dealing with someone who is unrepentant, that effort is going to be a waste. So you might as well just leave it and adjust yourself to liking it like that until you're sure if you want to continue or you want to get out. Okay? Because to be honest, cleaning up after them is going to double up the work for you. Okay, reading on. I am melancholy while she is choleric. Wahala. Anyway, she scatters her shoes in the house and disorganizes the bookshelf, but she can't stand to be corrected. That's the problem. It's one thing if you're doing something and then you're allowed, when you're corrected, you accept it. One day when I did, after raging at me, she angrily removed all her books, mostly textbooks and class notes, from the shelf. You scatter book, we arrange it. You're now angry. You now go and pack your auntie, go pack your load and go. Pack your load and go. What's all this? Anyway, let me continue. I always assist her in cooking and in house chores like sweeping, washing plates and clothes, washing of the toilet and bathroom, etc. Well, I wouldn't call it assist, uncle, but I also understand the conditioning and the mindset. You really don't assist your wife to do things in the house you both live in. It's your responsibility. It's both of your responsibility. You both live there. If she's not there, are you not going to clean it? Yes, you are not married. You should make life easier. Yes, but it is not a sole responsibility. The same way you are not babysitting your children. That word is only a professional who is not a parent to a child that babysits a children. Let's begin to question the abnormality that we have normalized. You don't babysit your children. You nurture your children. And you are not assisting her to clean a place where you live in. You're doing it together. However, I understand you as well. Let's continue. I used to follow her to the market to buy foodstuffs and provisions. When she was not yet driving, I never allowed her to go to the market by public transport since we had 2 cars. Oh, that's sweet. But she didn't appreciate my effort and love. She rather takes everything for granted and asks for more. You don't satisfy. You cannot satisfy someone that is insatiable, sir. I'm sorry that happened to you, but that's the truth. No matter how much love you give to these people, they're never satisfied, really. Now, I've not concluded if she's a narcissist or not, but she's giving the vibe so far. Let's continue. Delay in childbearing. We could not achieve pregnancy for the first year of our marriage. Bumi, not her real name, used to have bad dreams, and we used to pray together and attend prayer meetings and all that. Okay, so I think they eventually got pregnant 1 year after their wedding. As we confirmed the pregnancy a few days to our wedding anniversary. Oh wow, glory to God. I remember taking her out to an eatery, nice garden, celebrated the wedding anniversary and the pregnancy. During the delay, my wife was discouraged and I used to encourage her oh dear, we lost the pregnancy 1 month later. Oh, that's a bad news. And he said most probably due to her disobedience by being involved in a particular strenuous activity. I think I would like to ask you, how do you communicate with her? Because see, many times people say they are communicating, but what they are doing is fighting. See, for example, a pregnant woman whose hormone is already crazy. I mean, you don't know. Let me help you. A pregnant woman, in fact, you're not pregnant, your hormones are, it's not yours. Many times, the way the thing just messes up a woman, you have no idea. And that's one thing I need men to understand. I'm not excusing her behavior, but I also wanted to see from a different perspective. The woman's body is constantly working. If it is no ovulation that is messing her up, period is messing her up, after period is messing her up, like there's barely a break for her. And those things are messing her up to a point where sometimes she's not even understanding herself, and it takes a very emotional, intelligent person to be able to calm her down. Again, I'm not saying it's an excuse to be nasty, but also you have a part to play to make her feel calm. And now in this situation is pregnancy. You may be communicating the wrong way, because the tone of your message is why I'm saying this. I'm not saying you are, but going by the tone of your message, you come across as a bit controlling as well. She may be controlling, but I think you are also a bit controlling, and you lack communication skills going by your message, really. And maybe it is also from the place of hurt. Maybe you're still struggling to heal and all that. So I get it, but I also want you to reflect and think, all these times you're correcting her, how did you try to correct her? How did you pass your message? Were you aggressive towards her as well? Or were you stubborn, or you were being unruly and rude, or rude rather? Because sometimes we are blind to our own actions, but we see clearly people's reaction to our actions. Again, I want you to understand, I'm not exempting her, but I want you to also see from a different perspective, and there's a possibility you also were not helping matters with her. There's a possibility she's not even a narcissist like you are thinking she may be, and there's also a possibility she is, because I'm not done reading your story, but I'm just saying all this based on what I've read so far. Going by your tone of message, I think you also may have some bad communication skills that may have also sabotaged a lot of things in your relationship, coupled with her own already bad behavior. It's not down to young people scatter. Everything just became a mess. So I would also want you to reflect on this. Please be calm. Don't think I'm coming at you. I'm also trying to help you. I'm hoping I think you're still together. Probably there could be help. You can, at the end of this whole episode, maybe both of you can book a session with me. Let's talk about this issue. It may not necessarily be a narcissistic abuse, but yes, obviously there's abuse present, and we can still work on it. Maybe, because I'm not done reading. Okay? Moving on with the other story. Thankfully, after losing that previous pregnancy, they were blessed with a beautiful baby girl after that pregnancy, and we thank God for that. Now, we're going to the next one. The next one is control and lack of appreciation. When you're dealing with a self-entitled person, they are never going to be they're not going to appreciate anything you do for them, no matter how big. If the word is rolling on the floor, telling you thank you to them, what did you do? Anyway, let me read this. Continue. My wife always wants our will to be done in the home. When we moved into a new apartment in 2014, one of the don'ts the landlord gave was that we should not hammer nails into the wall. Having earlier told her all the rules, I was surprised one day when she angrily wanted to hammer some nails into the wall. I cautioned her against this, but she raged at me, calling me a coward as she hammered several nails into the kitchen walls and doors. Hey, okay, it's like, well, you're not married to a wife. I don't even know I don't know how to characterize this. How are you surviving? And it looks like you're still with her. Let's continue. Telling me she needed them to hang her bags despite the shelf and hooks in the kitchen. Years later, she still asked a carpenter to relocate some wall shelves to the other side of the kitchen and to hammer another shelf into the sitting room as well. Kilo day. Why are these kind of people always very defiant? The day before, I had told Bumi, again, not her real name, that the landlord called me to ask of what we were hammering when the carpenter was making a cabinet for her, and he gave a warning again against nailing the wall, but Bumi raged at me and still told the carpenter to go ahead. Sir, not the wife you marry. Hey. One occasion, 3 months into her second pregnancy, Bumi bought some wallpapers which she wanted to paste on the kitchen wall as I began washing my clothes on a cloudy Saturday morning. This person, I must acknowledge, you're a very good writer. You're very good. And I love the details as well. She asked me to help her glue the wallpapers to the wall because of love. I stopped washing my clothes and began gluing the wallpapers as she requested. Good. But with someone like that, stopping what you're doing, I just hope it's appreciated. Let's continue. After about 2 hours, I was 90% done, remaining about 3 wallpapers to fix. I told her I would do the remaining after spreading my clothes as the sun was not even shining. Instantly, she began insulting me, shouting, "You must glue the remaining wallpapers now." All my efforts to calm her down proved abortive. I went ahead to wash my clothes. In anger, she climbed the kitchen cabinet and glued the remaining wallpaper carelessly upside down. She continued to abuse me even in the presence of her friend, her former roommate and best lady, that's chief bridesmaid, who came visiting. She told her friend to open her eyes wide and get a good husband. Bumi had waist and thigh pains for days after this incident. She withdrew from me without any apology. Oh God, don't even expect any apology. There's no apology coming. Coincidentally, her mother came visiting in the afternoon now. It's like, this is where I think we'll be saying, in the evening, I asked Mommy what if she lost the pregnancy again or she fell down from the cabinet. Exactly, like, is she okay? Why would she take that kind of risk? She still insulted me angrily. Her mother, who had overheard our conversation, that is to say argument, that night, asked me the following morning what the matter was, and I reluctantly explained to her. She felt very bad about her daughter's attitude and corrected her moderately. She exclaimed regretfully that her husband used to correct her about her own anger when they were still young in marriage, but she herself did not yield until later when she was more matured. In a nutshell, she's indirectly telling you to keep tolerating the bad behavior, because that's what this one means. She cited an instance when my wife was sucking her fingers as a very little child, and her mom cut her fingers with razor blade and applied pepper, which pained her daughter greatly. Mummy kaleshio, loripa mamuka. That's not nice. That's wicked. Anyway, back then, I understand. Lack of knowledge. I was so shocked at the revelation. My mother-in-law left for Lagos that same day. My wife was not happy that her mom knew about the issue, and she continued begrudging me. The following day, I embraced and appealed to her calmly for peace, but she hit me in the stomach with her elbow. I said it's a gegen level. I left her alone. She was quiet in the car as I took her to office the following day, which is a Monday. In the evening, when I was almost home, she called to tell me that I should buy sausage for her at Tantalizer Outlet, a little bit far from her house. I turned back the car to go and buy the snack, but when I brought the sausage home, Bumi said she used it to test me as I didn't show her love. This is giving me narcissistic vibe. This is how they do. They will frustrate you and then be testing you to test your loyalty towards their abuse. These people are wicked. You frustrate somebody, you hit the person in the stomach. You didn't think to apologize. Yet you are telling him to go and buy something. And then you know, after stressing, I'm even suspecting that she likely saw him coming, made sure she was close to the home, then intentionally made him go back. August, you're gentle. I don't think I'll be that nice. I will enter the house and say, okay, I'll go later. Because what's this? You now end up saying you are testing. Okay. And then he reminded her that she had hit him in the stomach with her elbow while trying to reconcile with her the previous day. What more love did she need? Well, he eventually made peace with her intentionally. All these fake peace that people do. You people do fake peace. Peace that is not peacing. You don't understand. Someone has not acknowledged they are wrong. You're making peace here. And these are the things that now later become a big time bomb that now blows the whole house down. Because the little peace you are making, instead of sitting down, addressing an issue, you make peace with someone that is not even sorry. And then the person does it again, over and over and over again. And then the day you get to that, your limits, you blow. And people are like, where did this happen? How did it happen? No, it didn't just happen. It started with the little peace that you are making when you are meant to have a conversation to have the issue really resolved. I know this to work in an healthy relationship, but in a toxic relationship, it may not work, but still try. Let's see. We never can tell, okay? Bumi commands me to give away my clothing or shoes, and when I tell her it is not yet time, she rages at me. Kilo day. She also throws away my things without my consent, including my crafts templates and other materials. She had at different times thrown away my USB cord, earpiece, camera batteries, and car cover without my consent. Why? I kept correcting her on this behavior, but she didn't change. She also avoids planning with me, but buys many things. I said it. Even at times on credit. Most times from my church members, and asked me to give her money for such item, compulsorily, including foodstuffs. When I gave her the amount I could afford, she throws the money at me, rages at me angrily, asking for more. There's a serious problem here. I know we are just in page 4 of 49. I don't even know when I'll finish this thing, but I'm going to sit with it so that a lot of people can learn. This is, and I'm happy it's also a man is happening to, so that you can see that it's not just women that go through this thing. It's both ways. Continuing, childbirth and aggression. In this one, it talked about how after their first child, they had to go through CS, and he passed through so much stress. And yes, he understood the postpartum depression, but there was no compliment. Let's not lie, let's not steal. Everyone loves to be appreciated, either as a man or a woman. So if you have a partner who is going over and above, in fact, even if it is what is expected of them, still say thank you. Not because they could have decided, in fact, they could have actually chosen not to do it, even though it's wrong. But the fact that they are doing it, you're saying thank you is going to push them to do more. She appreciates my little effort, let me do more. Let me do more. And then they do more. Stop taking your men for granted. Stop saying it's his responsibility. Yes, it is his responsibility. That's why some of you will travel outside of your country, and then you will hear people telling the driver thank you, and it will sound awkward to you. This morning, I was getting off the bus, and I said, thank you, driver. It's normal. Tell people thank you, even though they are paid to do it, even though it is their responsibility. Still say thank you. Everyone loves to be appreciated. It's kind of encourages them. Let's be kind. Man, I'm sorry about what this guy went through. I don't want to go into everything, but let me jump to this part. However, my mother-in-law was picking unnecessary offense with me despite all the assistance I was rendering in the kitchen, and Bumi gave her full support as she came to me at a time to say angrily that her mom was angry at me. This was despite my appreciation of her efforts. I remember I thanked her mother-in-law at one time, but she didn't answer me, but was grumbling. The apple that fell down from the tree, they too far from the tree. When she had said that her husband had to tolerate her, I've known that now she's likely going to be abusive as well. She is. She just was trying to be nice at that point and definitely want her daughter to be married. So she was just pretending. Well, let's go on. 2 days after the birth of her daughter at a private hospital, the doctor asked me to take the baby to a government hospital for a particular immunization. My mother-in-law accompanied me with the baby. At the hospital, the matron told us not to give any herbal concussion. That's agbo. Nigerians, Yoruba call it agbo, to the baby, as her liver was not yet developed. My mother-in-law, however, went to Lagos before the naming ceremony and brought an herbal concussion in a bottle for the baby to drink. Kilo day. She was there. She also brought jokun, herbs tied in a piece of cloth, which is heated with a stone and used to touch the baby's navel. I was surprised at the in these 2000s. I want to 19th century, but we are now in the early 20th century. For God's sake, people still do this thing. Okay, I was surprised at the concussion, considering the chief nurse's instruction, which she was even there. At least going by this story. My wife declared to me that we were not going to use the concussion. I wanted to tell her mom diplomatically that night that we would administer the concussion to the baby the following day, as we were all tired. I thought of diluting the concussion very well before giving the baby a very little quantity. August, even yourself, you should not have allowed it. If the mother wants to be angry, let her be angry. It's your child. We're talking about your child. We're talking about your child. I don't understand the sentimental respect. Okay, so as to not incur mother-in-law's wrath, but Bumi insisted that mom doesn't get angry like that. Stop. I was falling back on an experience with my mother-in-law shortly before our wedding. When the two families held a crucial meeting, my family wanted expenses to be moderated, thereby suggesting that we use chicken and fish for the wedding instead of beef, but this suggestion did not go well with my mother-in-law. On my subsequent visits with my fiancé to their house, my mother-in-law begrudged me all through, frowning at and not responding to me. Ah, as always, there's always so many signs, but we always think that it is pink. The red flag is always flaggy, but we always think it is pink, off-white, baby pink. I don't know. This is... Anyway, she even said in my presence that the good quality ashoke I had paid for was bad. Afterwards, on the Spinsters Valedictory Day organized by my fiancé, we were eventually able to give a good sum of money for the beef. It was then my mother-in-law became happy with me again. However, the jokun, that is the thing that they used to put on the child's navel, was used without my objection, even though I knew it was not actually necessary. Okay, you agree to it. On the day of the naming ceremony, my cousin, Jumoke, not real name, elder sister, asked me why we rejected the concussion my mother-in-law brought, as she complained angrily to her about it. I explained the matter to my cousin, who said she had knelt down to beg my mother-in-law. She said I should go and beg her as well. I prostrated flat to beg my mother-in-law and explained to her that it was my wife that rejected the concussion. No, be your wife. The hospital said it. I don't know. The following day, our baby was going for another immunization, and my mother-in-law was going back to Lagos. My mother-in-law, Bumi, and our baby were with me in the car. As we went, I asked my wife her intention about the concussion for her mom to know further that her daughter was in charge of it. I also didn't know if Bumi had returned it to her mom, but she said we will discuss it later. Then her mother highlighted on the way to continue her journey to Lagos. I gave her some money, begging her to please manage it. I noticed she looked angrily at the amount I gave her. The reason for the little amount is in the next story. For someone that just gave birth, that this years, is she even meant to be expecting a lot of money? Let's go on. Let's keep reading. Before our baby was born, my wife used to say that all the money gotten on the naming day would be used to buy shares for the child. I told her it was a good idea, but she should wait for the time to come. On the naming day, my wife's friends and family as well as mine gave us money. In the evening, we collected all the money, about 88,000 naira. But my wife still insisted that we use all the money to buy shares for her baby. I reminded her that I had spent money on the delivery and on the naming ceremony, as I was also servicing a loan and was also repairing the engine of her second car. I therefore needed more money for home upkeep, the car, and give to her mom. So I would need to borrow 30,000 naira from the gift money. All my explanations to Bumi proved abortive, as she stood up angrily, threw all the money at me while insisting that the exact amount I borrow from the money is what she would take. To make peace, I borrowed only 15,000 naira from the gift money, while she also took the same amount and saved the remaining money in my bank account, so I couldn't give the initial amount I intended to give my mother-in-law. Hey, this matter don't tire me. Should we continue reading this story? I must confess to you, out of 49 pages, we are in 6. 43 more to go. Anyways, over to you. I don't know. This is such a very, very lengthy story, and I really don't think I want to be jumping too much so that we don't miss out important information. But I think there's been so many red flags, but it just was not paying attention to, just like every one of us. God help us. Over to you.